Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. Welcome to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. We are retired New York City police detectives with over 20 plus years of law enforcement. If you like all things true crime related from that police perspective, hit the subscribe button and hit that notification bell. This way you'll get all things DutyRon and Ed when we go live or upload a video. Today, we're going to talk about the preview of tonight's show, Brian Laundries' Confession, written in that famous notebook. Ed, I know you got a lot to say about it, and the two guests that we're going to have on tonight, they are nothing short of phenomenal. And again, another thank you to you for reaching out to these folks. Ed, any thoughts on tonight's show?
Yeah, it's going to be another great forensic learning lesson for you all in the true crime family. We're going to have our handwriting analyst on, and she's going to walk us through the paces on what would have to have been done to do a handwriting analysis of that notebook and its confession, so that they could say that it was definitively Brian. And then, in addition to that, we're going to have on our expert, Bob Schaefer. Schaefer is the one beer to have. I'm sorry, Lieutenant Bob Schaefer from the Loveland Police Department, who is a statement content analysis expert. So he reviewed the statement in writing, and he's going to give his opinion to us about what he thinks on the information that he found in there about the authenticity, sincereness, whether it's truthful, lying, or things of that nature.
Ed, I want to ask you, so this means that when I used to write out my fake excusal notes when I was in high school, these guys would have busted me?
Well, Cena would have busted you. Definitely would have busted you. She's all about that.
Yeah. So Sina Wong, she's a board-certified forensic handwriting expert, analysis expert, and she's a document examiner. So she could tell you if if it's a fake notarized letter. All these, there's so many different crimes that she potentially investigates. We're going to have her on tonight with us at 8 p.m. Eastern, and it's going to be nothing short of another learning experience here on Crime Time with DutyRon. And as you know, Ed is a teacher, and he is out there, doing his thing for the law enforcement community across not only the United States, across the world. Ed, you're going to be visiting Africa and Afghanistan in a couple of short weeks, right?
Well, specifically, I'm going to be in Burkina Faso in Africa, and then I'm going to be actually in Kurdistan, Erbil, Iraq.
Wow. Well, we're going to be keeping in touch with each other by electronic means, and we're going to be using our satellite phones with our encryption to get all kinds of messages from Crime Time with DutyRon back and forth outside the country. Josh is here with us, and he's kind enough to play just a short little clip. This is from News Nation. I want you guys to watch this because this is going to be kind of like the background of what the show is going to be about tonight. Again, we're not going to be talking about anything other than the notebook, and we're going to also ask our guests about Roberta's writings, the actual famous note that says "burn when done reading." Even though we don't have that out yet, but we're going to ask them when that gets released if they will come back and actually look at that for us if we get a chance to see it. I don't know if it'll ever get released, but Josh, if you could roll that video, I want to play that for the audience now, and Ed and I will be back in a few. Ed, you can get a bone
in the Gabby Petito murder case. The first look at Brian Laundries' final words, confessing to killing his girlfriend, Gabby, before ultimately ending his own life. In this 8-page confession, Laundrie says he killed Petito out of mercy after she suffered an injury. News Nation's senior national correspondent Brian Inton has been on the story from day one. Brian, this notepad is the last piece of the puzzle we've been waiting for. So what do we learn from it?
Yeah, Nicole, this is the big piece of evidence that we have been waiting to see. And today we finally got our hands on it. It is 8 pages long, and it basically lays out Brian Laundrie admitting that he killed Gabby Petito. It's very, very strange. He basically says that this was a mercy killing, in his words. He claims that Gabby Petito was hurt when they were in Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. I want to read you a section of this letter. Again, it's 8 pages long, but this is a part of it that really sort of sums up what he was apparently trying to say. He wrote, "She would not let me try to cross the creek, thought like me that this was fire, would go out in her sleep and she'd freeze. I don't know the extent of Gabby's injuries, only that she was in extreme pain. I ended her life. I thought it was merciful, that it was what she wanted. But now I see all the mistakes I made. I panicked. I was in shock. But from the moment I decided, took her pain away, I knew I could not go on without her." So again, it's 8 pages long. It's interesting the way that it was released today. The Laundrie family attorney, Stephen Bertolino, released the full letter. He says that he went to the FBI today, along with the Petito family attorney in Tampa, to retrieve all of the evidence from the case. And this letter was part of this evidence, and he decided that he would release it, he says, because he wanted to be transparent. Nicole?
All right, Brian, I want to ask you about the
That's
letter.
good
but
enough.
First,
That's good enough.
Does he
That's
allude,
good
does
enough,
he
Josh.
say anything?
Thank you. Thanks for playing that, Josh. Again, I wanted to put that on for you guys, and I know, Ed, we're going to dive into this tonight with our guests. There's just so much. I was going to play a little bit more of that because Brian Enton at one point is asked, "Do you believe that Brian Laundrie penned that letter himself without any help?" And he said no. He said no, and I know he doesn't have any expert expert opinion behind what he's saying. He's a news reporter, but I think a lot of us feel the same way. Is that that was not a note that he wrote while he was in a difficult time. He was probably coached into, is my thoughts. He was coached into writing that letter in that notebook, those 8 pages. What's your thoughts on that, Ed? Do you have any feelings on it? I mean, I know it's just guesswork.
Well, forensically speaking, yeah, there would have to be a comparison of the parents' writings, specifically the mother, and she would have to give previous writings, and then she would be asked to write with weak hand, write with strong hand, and this is print, so it's not script. So she would have to. They'd have to prepare what they would. The analysts would have to prepare what they would want her to write, so that they can get a good representative baseline to compare against what's in that book, and then they would have to. Well, I'm getting into what we're going to get into tonight, so I'm going to stop.
Yeah, no, don't go too far. I was just going to stop you.
Yeah.
But my thing is that 6 months ago, I have a clip that I'm going to play tonight on our full show. This is a preview of what we're going to talk about. 6 months ago, there was the argument between the Petitos and Schmitz, and also the Laundrie family. This was in January of this year. They were both families were petitioning the FBI to get that. The Laundries wanted that notebook and the rest of their son's personal belongings, and the Petitos and Schmitz wanted to get Gabby's clothing and all of her personal effects from the Laundrie home, and that was up in the air. The FBI wasn't releasing it. Now, we know, and we're going to go into it tonight, that the FBI dots their I's and crosses their T's. So when they have all of these items, including Roberta's penned letter that we haven't seen yet and haven't been released, the infamous burn after reading letter, I'm sure the FBI took analysis of handwriting from the father, the mother, the brothers, the sisters, or anybody that is part of that family makeup, and probably maybe even including the attorney. But again, I'm sure that Brian penned that himself. In my mind, Brian penned it, but I don't think he penned it on his own. So that's something for us to debate with our guests tonight and talk about. And there's a lot of things that Bob, Lieutenant Bob Schaefer, the Loveland Police Department in Colorado, he's been at this game for a long time, and he's been with that department since 1986 So that was the last time my Mets won the World Series. So
Yeah, and remember the Big E and Schaefer at Shea Stadium, right?
yeah, oh
When,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, the Big E lights up in
yeah,
Schaefer. That's when did it
exactly.
light up?
Ah, geez,
When they made an error, right? E
yeah,
for error.
exactly. Yes,
Right.
yeah, and it's been at Shea Stadium since probably 67. Shea opened in 62 or 64, so it's probably been there for a long time. But
And that's why I
it,
remember the jingle, right? Schaefer is the one beer to
one
have when you're
yeah,
having more than
more than
one.
one. My dad used to drink that beer
We're
actually.
giving away our age.
Yes, yes. But listen, guys, if you guys are not yet subscribed, consider subscribing to this community. Hit the notification bell for tonight's video, which is linked down below. We are going to have two very informative specialists. Sina Wong, forensics, handwriting expert, board certified document examiner, Lieutenant Bob Schaefer, statement analysis expert. He has just their resume between the two guests that we brought in tonight. They're going to be here to answer all your questions. Go over to DutyRon.com and send us questions for tonight's show. And just label it in the message. Just label it questions for forensic handwriting analysis and statement analysis. Just put questions for tonight's show. It makes it easier. But any questions that you have, send them over to DutyRon.com. I will, go through them. I'll pick out some good questions, and we will have a 15 or 10-minute Q&A if we have enough time at the end of tonight's show. I think this is something that all of you guys want to hear about. You want to know about what goes on to certify and to say with certainty that this was, because there's so many questionable things here. The police and all of the authorities looking for long periods of time for Brian Laundrie in that Fort DeSoto / Mayacahatchee reserve. We watched them search day in and day out, and then they all of a sudden the Laundrie family goes prancing in there on a Sunday night or a Monday morning, and all of a sudden, boom. And we had that reporter from Fox News, right? Ruiz, I think his name was.
Yeah, Michael Ruiz.
Yeah, and he wouldn't talk to us. He wouldn't. He was afraid of me and Ed. We wanted to talk to him and get him on the show and kind of question him. Like, hey, what did you see? Because he was the only embedded reporter with Roberta and Mr. Laundrie. So, I think that he would have given us some good insight, but he said that he wasn't allowed to. So
right. The day after the park opens, after the water recedes, and bada bing.
Yeah, I mean you can't sell. I mean, listen, I might be naive sometimes, and I might be silly sometimes, but you can't sell me that bag of goods and expect me to buy that. It's very suspect, very suspect and very very shady. But it is what it is, folks. This is what we got to go with. Again, the Petito and Schmidt family. They were granted the right to go forward with their civil suit against the Laundries, and I hope and pray for a good results with them. So, again, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, Ed and I will be live with our special guest. It's going to be great. Rocky Pastorino says, I trust the FBI. They lost. Wait a minute. Did he say he trusts or he doesn't trust?
Says, I trust the FBI.
Yeah, they lost the 23-year-old kid that was supposedly under 24-hour surveillance. So, yeah, they're talking about the Northport Police Department. So, Brian Laundrie was able to slip out. I mean, that's Ed and I had a field day with that. Don't even get us started. But listen, we want to say a special thank you to our Patreon supporters, the moderators, the replay viewers. You guys are what makes this a great place. We're not going to be live here for a long time because this is a preview for tonight's show. I see Ed's already having fun with the comments. He's scrolling through them. The bottom line is, folks, is that we cover these cases from all different angles. And we don't sugarcoat or sweet talk the police when they screw up, because we were very stern and strong. We were coming down on Northport Police Department like there was no tomorrow. And they deserved it because they really messed up this case. How do you let, your prime suspect, and they talked about him as being a person of interest, or at one point he wasn't even a person of interest. He was the only person of interest. He was the only suspect, and they let him get away. How? I don't know. I don't know how that happens. It's a big, and they got off easy because I don't hear anything about them. I don't hear anybody questioning them or keeping them holding accountable because they're on to the next latest and greatest thing. So it's amazing.
It is.
I want to make mention of a couple of things. Ed, were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
No, I mean, it's not the only case that, we had the Uvalde case, and now you got the mayor out there screaming like a banshee that that his town, his police department, his board of education police department are being tarred and feathered, and it's and it's not right. Well, hey, when you're the mayor
Right.
and things go well, you take the credit. When you're the
Right.
mayor and things go bad, you take that too. You own it. Okay, so knock it off. We know what happened.
Exactly. And that's the problem, is that there's so many of these politicians, they don't want to take the heat. They want to do this. They love to point the fingers at everybody and anybody other than themselves. And that's where the problem exists. Spirit of 1776 says, Ron, can you talk closer to the microphone? I'm using these earbuds. I got no choice. I don't have a microphone in front of me. I wish that I did, because if I did, I would have put it right here and started going, Spirit of 1776. Yeah, but I don't. I have these. I'm sorry. These are iPod AirPods, and they don't give you a lot of options with pumping up the volume. Lieutenant Pete Pranzo is in the building, and that means Richella Pranzo's here, because when there's Pete, there is Lieutenant Pranzo's better half, Richella. Let's see who else is here. Catherine Elizabeth Gasparino. She said, sad that the doors weren't even locked. Listen, we can't really get into, that's not what we're talking about here. It's just, we were bringing up examples, and the examples can continue on, because we could go over to Chaffee County, Colorado, and we could talk about the Suzanne Morpheu case, how they took that bicycle and ran it up the hill. That was the joke of 2021. That to me was just horrific on all different levels. And look at what we got going on now. You have someone who was arrested and indicted on murder charges, and the prosecution just released all the charges. So Suzanne Morpheu's murderer goes free because of a weak case, which is kind of horrible in itself. We haven't heard anything about the mountains thawing out in Colorado. Maybe I'll ask the lieutenant tonight about how the mountains are doing in Colorado, if they're thawed out in that area. But anyways, let's see who's here. Stitchin', Bitchin', and True Crime is here as well. Thank you for joining. Emmy says, do you plan to cover Mo Wilson and Katelyn Armstrong case? I didn't have any plans to cover that case. We have our hands full. I'm working a full-time job. Ed's traveling outside the country. He's got a new dog, a puppy to take care of. He's got a demanding wife that gives him a honey-do checklist. I have the same situation. This is a juggling act. We can only do so much. So good to see everybody joining. Maria is here. Ed, what's your thoughts? What's going on?
Well, first of all, Margaret, if you're listening, Ron said that, not me. Okay.
I'll take full
I'm
credit.
throwing Ron right under the bus right now. I did not complain to Ron about your honey-do list. Okay. That said, thanks, Ron.
I know that list exists. It exists for me. So I'm assuming that the honey-do checklist exists for you, in which I've now found out without questioning you that it does exist.
Well,
so
I have a honey-do list before I leave, and I know I have a honey-do list when I get back.
There you go. Bingo. Yahtzee. That's how we stay married a long time. We always check off that honey-do checklist. But anyways, tonight, 8 p.m. is going to be a great show. There's one of Ed's family members. I think that was your dad going by. Hello, Mr.
You saw my dad sneak by? Yeah.
Yeah, we saw Mr. Wallace. He went right through the flags in the background. But it's all good. Anyways, I want to just say too, much appreciation for everyone who leaves comments down below. Your comments, your super chats, the gifting of memberships, and all of the folks who just, click that thumbs up and all of the good things that you guys do. Ed and I want to just say to you how much we appreciate you and how much we honor what you guys do. You know, having a community like this where you do live interactive broadcasts, it's really it depends on your audience that you have, and you guys are what makes this a really cool place to be, because without your engagement, without your comments and questioning us, then it makes it boring. So all of the questions that you guys send in the comments, like I think we had like 800 questions and answers in the last live stream that we did. That's phenomenal. So your engagement is just unbelievable. Sharon creates, that's a really nice message. She says, thank you for your intelligent, truth-based information. Well, Ed and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Very much. Hey, Ron, what about the redirect? We got to talk about the redirect.
Oh, yes, yes. So after this show, thank you. I wasn't looking at, I see there's 4 messages in the private chat. That's Josh jumping up and down. So this broadcast will redirect you to tonight's broadcast. So we've made it easy for you to watch the show tonight, because as soon as this live stream ends, it's going to redirect you to tonight's. So when you're there, you could give it a thumbs up first and foremost. You can subscribe if you're not subscribed, and then you can make that notification. You can hit that notification on tonight's live. It's going to redirect you. So don't get confused when you're here and it's over. All of a sudden, it's going to be a really cool transition. And you know, Ed and Josh, those are the technical guys. I'm giving Ed some credit where he doesn't really deserve it. But Ed and Josh had everything to do with the redirects. So this thing is just going to shoot you straight over to tonight's show. There's going to be a small trailer that's there, and you're going to hear me and this guy talking about the show tonight that we have coming up. And again, these two people that are coming on with us, Sina Wong and Lieutenant Bob Schaefer, they are going to be a chock full of information. And I'm going to ask them if the letters that I used to submit for my excusals when I'm in high school, if that could be used against me in a court of law, or is the statute of limitations up?
I think the statutes are dumb. Yeah, they're up. They're up.
Thank-
Okay. And besides, you would have been a juvenile offender at that point.
Correct.
Okay. So I feel like Ed Sullivan tonight. You know, we got a really big show tonight. So spread the word, folks. Get the word out to your friends and the other members of our true crime community. It's going to be a really big show tonight.
Yes, it's going to be awesome. So again, I'm going to get out of here. Ed's got a lot of things to do. He's got he also is, unbeknownst to you, he's a pool boy, so he might have to get home and, you know, do the pool. He might have to drive back to Staten Island and come back to Jersey. I don't know what he's got to do. So I don't want to keep him from his honeydew checklist. We're having some fun here today. But yeah, Ed and I, we look forward to seeing you guys tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We hope you guys can join us and interact with our guests. It's going to be, again, the second to none. That's what we do here. And thanks to Ed for getting all these great guests for us going forward. You know, we're going to try to reel in some of our old guests that we've had on, like Dr. Murray Marks. We haven't heard from him in a while, Ed. We gotta light the fire under his rear end and get him back on the live stream when we have a chance.
I say we go out to the body farm and do a live from the body farm.
I'm down for that. I will travel to Tennessee anytime. Anytime you're ready to go on a road trip, or we'll get on a plane. We'll take a flight down there and
go down to Knoxville, home of UT.
Knoxville, and we'll knock on his door. Yeah, we'll knock on his door in Knoxville. All right, guys, a lot of love and respect. I just wanted to say, hey, we have to mention 4th of July. There was a mass shooting at the Highland Park Parade on July 4th, and 7 people killed, 46 others injured. We want to send prayers, strength, and positive vibes to that community. They really need us there. There's a lot of people that are shaken up pretty bad there, and you know, we're sending them strength, prayers, and positive vibes as always. You know, there's got to be something that we can do to stop this. This is just maddening what's going on. And without getting into that conversation, I want to just send prayers and strength in the chat from our community to the friends and folks in Highland Park. Just what a horrible, horrible situation, Ed. Just terrible.
Same, ditto.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. Again, you know, I have a lot I want to say about this, but it's not the time and the place.
Absolutely. Yeah, we saw Brian Enton. I saw the coverage that he did. He was speaking to the mayor. He's all over it. Brian Enton, News Nation, such great fact-driven, unbiased coverage of all of our news. I've come to really love that news station, News Nation. So, guys, again, from Ed, Wallace, and I, we'll see you tonight. This is going to redirect to the new live stream tonight. God bless the world. God bless the United States of America, and God bless each and every one of us here in the chat, but especially all the victims over in Highland Park. They need us now more than ever. Ed, I know you got something to say.
All right, folks. Stay safe, stay prepared, watch your six.
We'll see you tonight, 8 p.m. Thank you all for watching. Peace.